If you're a loving grandparent and your estranged adult kids refuse to allow you to see your grandkids, whether it be at the holidays or always, then you find out that those kids are going to be in a Christmas concert and you're local. Don't not show up.
Hello my people, and welcome back again to another interesting video. So this grandma, she's called Dormant Mom on TikTok, and she creates content around telling other grandmas that if your adult children has cut you off and they don't even allow you to see your grandkids, don't take no for an answer. Don't stop trying. Don't stop talking to them. Don't take boundaries for an answer. You have to still be present in the places that they don't invite you. You have to still do things. You don't, when they tell you no, I don't want to see you, go and see them. When they set boundaries, pass the boundary. So she has been creating a lot of content around this, and people are really coming to her comment section and telling her that these are one of the reasons whereby your adult children are not talking to you, and that is why they are taking their children away from you. That is our grandkids. So you need to actually work on yourself and know where you were wrong. Let me show you some videos and I'll be back.
So you literally live selflessly for years on end for people that you created and love more than life itself. And you do so because you want them to be happy, to have everything that they need and could ever dream of. You even leap tall buildings in a single bound to make that happen. And in the end, they come back and tell you that you did it all wrong. That instead of leaping tall buildings in a single bound, you should have swam under them. And had you, they wouldn't now be dealing with all this trauma. And they know you're the source of it because fictitious people around them tell them that you are, and they believe them. And that someday they're going to do better than you. Does that sound familiar? If you're a loving grandparent and your estranged adult kids refuse to allow you to see your grandkids, whether it be at the holidays or always, then you find out that those kids are going to be in a Christmas concert and you're local. Don't not show up. Sit in the back if you have to, but take in the joy that comes from watching them perform. You deserve it. And they deserve to know that you're there for them and that you love them and you support them. It sends a strong message to everyone involved, but especially and most importantly, those kids.
Can you see how entitled she sounds? She has a lot of video on her page talking about this and sounding so entitled, sounding so like there's no problem in it. I don't have a problem in it. I have tried. When parents are so entitled just because they brought you to this world, they feel so entitled. There's one video like that she was like, you're supposed to honor your parents, and you adult children that decide not to talk to your parents, you're supposed to honor your parents. If you don't do that, how can you be blessed by the Lord? Like, she's just all over the place. And the thing is that a lot of people are coming for her in the comment section telling her that she's way wrong, but she's not stopping. I have interesting reactions from people that are trying to tell her the right thing to do, and also people that have somebody similar like that, and that was why they went no contact with them, maybe their mom or their grandma. Let me read this video for you all to watch, and I'll be back to share my thoughts at the end of the video.
Those kids are going to be in a Christmas concert and you're local. Don't not show up.
Before you all go back to that video and try and figure out what's going on, this is Grandma. Grandma's family has no contact with her, and they do not allow her contact with the grandchildren. Grandma's just a little upset about this because Grandma doesn't understand what the word no or stop means. So Grandma is here advising other grandparents who are in a similar situation to ignore that boundary, to ignore their kids saying no and stop, and go out to the grandkids' Christmas concert anyways. And this is a phenomenally bad idea. So let's suppose that you're a parent. You've got kids who are in a play, it's being advertised, and you know that parent or family member is going to show or is going to try and show. They're going to find out and they're going to try and show. What do? If it's at their school, talk to the school. The school has safeguards in place, or at least they should, to prevent grandma from getting into the place. That's number one. Number two, document everything. That means as soon as you find grandma, you pull out the phone, you start recording. And make sure that you have everything. When they showed up, how long they were there, what they were wearing, what you said, what they said, every single thing. Because that's going to come into step 3. You get a lawyer, or you go down to the court and you start talking about a restraining order. And you start getting these people arrested. Yeah, I said it. Arrested. Now let's suppose you are the parent who's being told that you're a horrible person and you should stay away, and you still want to go. What do? If somebody has said no, whether you like it or not, that is no. It's called consent. And you don't have it. And what you do is you start respecting that. And you get yourself into therapy. And you start working on yourself. Because maybe there might come a time, and I don't guarantee it, but there might come a time down the road when they might see, wow, they're really working on themselves. Maybe we can give them a chance. That probably won't happen. Even if it doesn't, if you work on yourself, if you become a better person, your life will be better. But step 1 is admitting that you are the fucking problem. And this is just proof. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but somebody threatening to come to my kids' event when they've been expressly told to stay away, I do see that as a threat. And I do see that as a threat to the child. Because if they're willing to cross that boundary, what other boundaries are they willing to cross? I don't care who you are or what relationship you think you have. If somebody tells you no, that is no. If you really think you're hard done by, if you really think you're oppressed, then you get yourself a lawyer and you toddle on down to the courts and you work it out there. But what you don't do is invade personal space where you're not wanted. You don't ignore consent.
It is perfectly okay to offer your ungrateful adult children approving.
Well, I suppose then it's perfectly okay to say that you have some serious negative parenting patterns, and one of the biggest reasons why there's so much estrangement. I would say right off the bat, it's the right and righteous parenting pattern. That means that everything is your way, and you can't see any other way or perception around that at all. It's either your way, and if there's any resistance, oh boy, you get mad. And probably some very much so authoritative parenting pattern. You know, when it comes to having adult kids, the worst thing you could do is try to parent or even try to shame them. No child, no matter their age, should ever have to work for their parents' love or acceptance. That is the opposite of unconditional love.
These ungrateful, estranged adult children truly know not what.
This creator's name is Doormat Mom. She's an estranged parent to her adult child, and the username's giving like, poor me. This is obviously like some sad mom account, where all she does is bash her children for not wanting to be closer to her and wanting space and distance. And it's quite interesting how she is so sad and so broken up and makes so much content about it, when she literally most of her content is her exposing why she probably is in this situation. She doesn't respect her children. She doesn't make her children feel safe or secure. She has a hard time with boundaries. She is manipulative and gaslighty as AF. And it's just really unfortunate, because if she just read some of her comments, you know, maybe not the terrible ones that are really trying to put her in her place, but the ones that like are constructive, she would maybe have some better luck navigating the relationship of her adult children. I'm glad your children don't talk to you anymore, because you sound absolutely horrid and you don't seem like you're going to make any changes or learn or unlearn anything anytime soon. As an adult who doesn't talk to their parent anymore, by my choice, I had to speak on this, because you are generalizing a lot of adult children who don't speak to their parents and calling us ungrateful, when you really don't understand the trauma, harm, and, you know, the truth that happened behind closed doors. You don't understand the dynamics, and it's really, really, it's really interesting. You want all this sympathy, and you want to be looked at as the person who is being harmed, when all reality, you're perpetuating so much harm. And just as something helpful, if you want to learn or unlearn anything, I would go to the Mother Wound Project on Instagram. The Mother Wound Project. They are very helpful and educated in educating people about estranged parents' relationships. So, happy holidays by yourself.
Doormat Mom. Everything about her is my own mother, to a T. I couldn't make it past 4 videos because the feelings of what I went through with my own mother were just too much. My mother, she is the exact kind of mother who would just show up to her grandkids' player concert if she had any. Even if she was told not to, just because she felt it was her right. Boundaries don't exist for her. She tries to act like a friend, but the second myself or my siblings don't reciprocate that, she becomes so mean and vindictive and will say some of the worst things just to try to bring us down. She was never truly a mother to me. She didn't raise me. She didn't want me. She made that very clear. She continues to make that very clear. She'd go back and forth from telling me that to promising we'd be a happily family soon. It never happened. Now I'm 34, and I haven't spoken to her in about 4 years. My C-man donor, he's in prison. She keeps trying to get every new address that I have when I move to give it to him. I never told her that I wanted him to have it. And the last time we spoke of him, I told her I want nothing to do with him because of what he did. And I've told her time and time again, I do not want him to have my address. It got to a point where she would ask my grandmother for my address. My grandmother would call me and ask me if she could give it to her, and I would tell her no. I've told her she can't have it. Doormat Mom makes my stomach turn. Doormat mom brings up all of the anger and the pain and the hurt that my own mother has put me through. If your adult children have cut you off, you need to do some soul searching. You need to take a step back. You need to reevaluate yourself. Take a look at everything that went wrong and realize how you were wrong. That's something that my own mother will never do. She will continue to ask why her children don't want a relationship with her. And she will sit there and she will answer her own question and still not get it. Don't be a doormat mom. Don't be a doormat mom. If your children set boundaries, you need to respect them. You need to listen to your children. You need to treat them with respect. This whole you need to respect your elders shit, that's how parents get cut out of their children's lives when they grow up. You know, I've had so many family members be like, well, what if something happens to her? You're gonna feel bad. No, I'm not. She has repeatedly shown me that she never really wanted me and that I somehow ruined her life. I don't want to associate with that. I have spent years trying to overcome that. I still struggle with it. I struggle with abandonment issues. So, to make your child feel that way their entire life, and to continue to do it, and then wonder why, I want nothing to do with you. Take a step back, look at what you're doing, reevaluate. Try to mend things. I've tried mending things with my mother. And every time that I do, she's okay for, a couple weeks. And, this has been the thing that has tipped the iceberg more than once. I don't respond to her right away on Facebook. And she loses her mind and flips out on me. Calls me all these horrible things. And then when I point out to her, this is why I don't want to talk to you, she runs and she makes a post about it. She makes herself the victim, classic narcissism. You're doing the thing that has pushed me away. And I point that out to you. So if you don't have a relationship with your children, maybe you should start listening to them. Don't be a doormat mom.
Doormat mom is hot right now for all the wrong reasons, and I'm going to tell you what happens to her sons. I worked for 7 years with the world's foremost expert in something called mother enmeshment. A lot of these men grow up with mothers who are over-attuned or over-involved in their life. They end up feeling very yucky about the close connection that their mother worked to foster with them. They also experience a great source of stress around their mothers, even if they still feel a great amount of love or a sense that they had a wonderful childhood. You may have heard the term mother enmeshment or surrogate spouse or covert emotional incest. These are terms used to describe the situation where a boy, or it could be any kind of child, but let's talk about sons for right now. A boy has a mother who is enmeshed with him, over-attuned, over-connected, and essentially relying on him for the emotional support she would be needing to get from her spouse. Oftentimes, the spouse or the father in this situation is either absent or emotionally distant. And so what she does is relies on her son to be the man that she needs. And it puts an enormous amount of pressure on the child. Often, if there are other kids in the home, there's a sense of favoritism that creates additional strife and struggle for the person with their siblings. There is a sense of feeling like the apple of the mother's eye, which can contribute warm and fuzzy feelings, but ultimately these turn yucky. And over time, complications arise in that man's adult relationships, particularly with other women. And there's this term called eroticized rage, which is often associated with men who have problematic sexual behavior that they display in life, especially if they come from an enmeshed mother situation. I don't know what Doormat Mom's real issues were, the way she treated her kids. Apparently she's written a book about it and wants us to buy it. But the idea would be, if she were the type of mother who felt like she had sacrificed or bent over backwards for her kids, then very likely she would have violated their boundaries, overriding their natural differentiation and autonomy growing experience in the process. And so this kind of stuff is really sad, whether or not that's Doormat Mom's story with her kids or not. I wanted to highlight that because many of the men that I work with who have displayed problematic sexual behavior, the kind that causes them to break commitments even when they're engaged in a committed relationship with someone they love, they have families, and yet they cheat on the side, or they participate in behaviors that violate the fidelity code of their relationship. And sometimes they do this compulsively. When that is happening, there's often issues with the caregivers that they had growing up in the home. And not to say that we don't all have some trauma, but this particular type of trauma, mother enmeshment, is one that needs to be better understood generally in psychology, so that when folks experience this type of childhood, they can get help quickly, because so often it flies under the radar. It's all the man knew as a child. It felt normal. All they're left with is really two symptoms in their life. Number one, they feel yucky about their mom, but also like they really have to be there for her. And the second is that their partner, their wife usually, is complaining about the relationship, feeling second to the mother. And so oftentimes these guys have to go no contact. It's the only way for them to really differentiate in the way that they were meant to back when they were younger.
There's an account on this app called Doormat Mom. This entire account is talking about how her kids are so terrible, her adult children are so terrible because they are estranged from her. Yet every single video that she has on her page is proving to the internet why they are estranged from her. Personally, I think this entire page is an amazing think piece, and it gives a window into narcissism and the boomer mentality, because it's something that we have observed, but we've never actually seen it broadcast. Get into the psyche of someone like this, who obviously doesn't want help, is wild, but it kind of makes you feel better to see how the perpetrator thinks, how the narcissist thinks in their own page, in their own mind, when they're alone and they're talking to their phone. Something about it is kind of healing. But I'm hoping that she is healed, because she's obviously hurting herself. She doesn't want her children to be estranged from her, but she's got to understand that there is a reason. I mean, even one of the videos was saying, if I showed up to a party that my estranged son was invited to, I would just look at him up and down if he addressed me by my first name, and everyone in the party would see why he's the problem. It's like, ma'am.
Some of these grandmas or mothers that their adult children have got no contact with them, one of the reasons whereby they might have got no contact with them is because they do not respect boundaries. They always feel like their own opinion. Most of these people always feel very entitled. Most of these parents feel very entitled. They feel like their own opinion it is always right. They feel like they're always the one that does the right thing, and whatever they say must be done. Okay. And the thing is, once you've gotten to a stage with your children, they can make decisions by themselves. You need to respect that. You need to understand that your child, because you brought a child to this world, does not mean that automatically forever you and this child will be, or you always make decisions for these children. You need to respect the fact that your children are growing to an adult and they can make decisions for themselves. One of the creators said that if she can realize her wrong and understand that she's wrong, or and see ways in which she might have wronged her children, maybe they might, cut, they might start talking to her again. Or maybe if she starts working on herself and they see that, oh, she's really putting effort to make things right, she's really trying to make things right, maybe they might start talking to her again. But if you continue like this and still feeling entitled, still not taking no for an answer, still not respecting boundaries, still trying to feel entitled and all of that, I don't think she will ever speak to her children again. I don't think they will ever want to talk to her again. I feel like even the grandchildren, when they grow up and all of that, they might not even want to be with her again. And I feel like she's kind of miserable, but she's hiding it and she's holding back. And the fact that she's kind of advising other grannies to do the same thing is wrong. This is not actually the right way to make amends with your adult children. This is actually one of the wrongest way, okay? If we on the internet, we are not even related to her and we feel very annoyed and embarrassed by what she's doing, I cannot imagine what our children will be going through when they see the videos and they be like, you see, she's not going to change and I don't want to have anything to do with her. Anyways, what is your take on this video? Kindly share your thoughts down in the comment section. Respectfully, Jaga Maria Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.